Well, there we go. It's season 5, episode 1. It's a season preview. We've got a new intro. We've ads going. This is like getting a wee bit too professional for our liking. Let me bring in straight from the start Gally to go through this season preview. Gally, how are you?
I'm feeling very honoured, very privileged to be part of this hierarchy of podcasting. This is that intro's. I don't think we've anything like that before. Yeah.
No, and a big shout out to David Keenan and obviously Mark Harlan as well for allowing us to use that track. Of course, that was Black and White Scarf from David Keenan, which he performed live on our end of season, which doesn't seem like that long ago, end of season podcast that we done from Black Mountain Studios. So thank you so much to both lads for allowing us to do that. And just before I go any further, a big shout out for David, who does have a gig in the Spirit Store on February the 23rd, Sunday, February 23rd. So tickets are still available on spiritstore.ie for that. So always good to be supporting local artists. Gally, how does these season previews come around so fast?
No, I was just thinking, when we done our show in Black Mountain, you think, it's months ago. I think that was like, what are we talking? Is it 12 weeks ago? Not even 12 weeks ago. It's probably 10. Like it's frightening. It comes around. I think, as much as we wanted it to come around, we didn't mind the break after last season. But at the same time, once kind of second week in January kicks in, we done our night in Oriel Park as well to speak to Killer and Ken and Ave Delvin, and it was a bit of a buzz then. And once you kind of get over Christmas, New Year, kind of middle of January, you're kind of, let's get it back on the road and pre-season games and things like that. Draw the last week. Yeah, look, it comes around fast, but it's long enough break just to be. It's just probably bang on the money, but yeah, we can't wait to get going.
I suppose over the past 4 or 5 seasons, Gally, that we've done this, we've always kind of look back and going, look for small incremental add-ons to the squad where we've been. This has been another one of those seasons where there's a big overhaul. Of course, starting, I suppose, with the management team, with Killer and Ken. Obviously, we had that chat with them in the Lily White as well, when they really had just come in. From I suppose that time to now, what's been your impression, and what sort of a squad do you think that Killer and Ken are putting together?
Well, I know when we finished the year and we were doing our, we kind of, the rumours were around at the time that Kieran Clonduff was getting, we were up at our end of the season review, the rumours were out that he was getting the job, and he probably got it then a couple of days before. So we were kind of all on the same page of a bit of experience, a bit of youth. Mm-hmm. Was I expecting kind of the pedigree, the player that we've got? And you take someone like Ebby there up front, banging in goals last season, first division at this level, could suit him down to the ground. But I've been, I'm guilty of doing this every year when we get an overhaul of a squad.
Oh, don't do it.
But I mean, it's a really solid squad. It's a really good squad. I think they've played their cards really well. We normally start that we might have missed out on one or two, but I don't think we have. I don't think they've missed a beat. I mean, you get the argument of people coming in from overseas on loan, but that's what the players are. That's the market we're in. That's not everybody wants to come as big as Dundalk, as big as we wanted to be. Not everybody wants to come play first division football. But I think they've done an excellent job. I really do. Great to see 4 keepers. Like 4 keepers, 2 young fellas coming in. We've obviously got Peter Cherry as well. Enda Minogue was kind of mentioned even before the season it had ended. I think between himself and Kieran Kilduff being mentioned for the job. Enda Minogue was kind of the number one, and we kind of mentioned the lads have set out their stall and who they wanted, and they've gone and got them. I'd be interested kind of at the end of the season if they've thought they've missed out on anybody, but I don't think we've missed a beat. I think you've got shrewd signings. Mayo, I mean, we're talking about players that have been kept. Sean Keogh was a massive one. Mayo was even bigger. Ken Kieran waxed lyrical about Luke Mulligan as well, in the pre-season talk. Good young player. I think we've got a really good squad for first division football, and I think they've done the homework. I think they've done everything right. Killer would have absolutely had a list of players when the talk of the job was around. Even for any team, maybe he's probably thinking as a manager, but if anybody comes in from these are the players I'm looking for. But I think they've done a really solid. We obviously talked about the obvious issues: goalkeeping, centre back, midfield, forward. We probably have a better spine of the team than we had for Premier Division football at the start of last year.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to get going and see them all in action. I know we played a couple of games in pre-season, but I think the 2 boys, and probably beyond, Jerry Spain, all these lads, I think they've done an excellent job.
Yeah. I was only halfway through this and I realised we'd done up a bloody graphic for all of this, so we might as well bring it in just so we have it all there. Like you said, it's an action-packed and packed out squad. Like you say, you're probably good to keep the basis of 1 or 2 things, like you said, the Mayoa, Sean Keogh, Sean Spade, Vinnie Leonard. If you look at Luke Mulligan, if you look even in the defence, and then added in with the experience of Conor O'Keefe and stuff like that.
O'Keefe, I actually missed him off. O'Keefe, that's another player that's just League of Ireland experience.
Yeah,
I think they've been really shrewd. I think the lads have hit the ground, and then you've got your mix in. Like, you're probably going to say this, and I'm probably talking over you now, but you've got your mix of like Abe Delvendale wanted it. He said it very clearly. He wanted to stay on, had something to prove. Owen Kenny, keeping Owen Kenny's like, we expect him to go with his trials, and he's had a Blackburn. We expect him to go. But I think we've got a really solid squad there. And I know John was saying I'm trying not to be too positive or too much, but I think it's an excellent squad to put together, considering where we were, 4 months ago. Like, you almost didn't have football, so I think it's an excellent setup.
I think when you look at the midfield, though, Gally, and you're looking, at A. Dervin, came across really well. Obviously, when we were having a chat with him in the Lillywhite that time, and set up as your vice captain, Darrell Horgan, bags of experience. Wardy, then, of course, that hadn't really happened at that stage. That probably, as much as it came as a surprise, it's probably a welcome surprise just for a little bit more experience. But even Harry Groom in there, like he had so many appearances already for Bray and stuff like that as well. And then you're putting in a little bit of, younger lads, young hungry lads in there, probably, in Russell Vargas, Andy Parashiv in there as well. Like, lads with want to be, like, imagine the amount of experience and everything they're going to gain from training and playing beside the likes of Darrell and stuff like that. Like, it'll only improve their game. And even with Owen up front, having someone like Dean Ebbe, I think, who was top goal scorer in the league last year, that can only improve his game. And I think that'll help him a bit more. And is it any surprise that we've seen him score 2? You've seen Owen score 2 in pre-season already, including, of course, the winner in the more recent Malone Cup match last week. If it seems like a big season for Owen. I don't know if that's just because, obviously we'll talk about it later on, but we are, his main sponsors again for his home shirt here at the town end. But it seems like a big season for him, doesn't it? Yeah,
I mean, there's been a lot of hype about him, and rightly so. I think when he went out on loan a couple of seasons ago, and he was in the squad there was talk of being in the squad when Stephen was around and things like that as a younger player. But I think now, and look, you forget, I don't even know what age are we talking, still talking 19, 20 years of age. Like he'll have a lot of, well, I suppose we probably expect to have a lot more weight on his shoulders this year, but then you've got the likes of Ebby coming in as well with him, Ruby as well. So they'll carry a bit of weight for him. But I do think it's a big season for him in terms of hitting the back of the net. We know what he can do. I mean, we've seen him in action. He's quick, he's strong, but he's got to get himself more on the goal sheet, on the goal score sheet, and that's obvious for a striker. But considering he's already had a lot of trials, if he wanted to really kick on, I mean, what better way to do it than be part of a Dundalk squad that, can get a team back up at the first time of asking. And look, we don't want to be jinxing it. Like Jonathan said, I'm just, but that'd be the aim for these boys. And what for him in particular, when you consider Kilduff as a striker, he's got Ebby with him as well. You can't really get much more better grounded than that. I mean, he's probably trusted into it over the last couple of seasons, probably not hit the ground running with the team that was there because we were lacking a little bit of confidence up top. But I think, I when you look at that squad and you look at the players, I don't think probably since Kenny there's been an overhaul like this. I know every manager that's come in has had to sign a lot of players. But like you mentioned Harry Groom there, that would have been a Kenny-esque signing, kind of plucked from the first division. I know it's still first division football now, but we would have signed players that not really people would have paid much attention to. And these lads are going to be key now this season. Owen Kenny right at the very top. Where he plays, if he plays as himself or as a two, we don't know. But yeah, I like even someone like Leo Gaxa. I mean, that guy had like the talent that was at that from his feet. Kerry years ago, going to Sheffield United, Brentford, Sheffield United. Again, another cracking football. We've kept a couple around. I just mentioned John there as well. I did meant to say that Scott Brady. There could be a chance he's going down south, but yeah, Owen Kenny in particular, yeah, massive season.
I think from what we've seen in pre-season, we seem to see kind of Dean leading the line with Owen maybe in off the left more often. You think is that something we might see?
Yeah, I think
everyone's trying to figure out where everyone fits in.
Yeah, I think last year we kind of mentioned. I don't know if it was Steph or Pingo that brought it up, and because Kenny, the way he plays, he can run. He can when he gets going, that horsepower that he has. So he could be very suited. He's got a great first touch of the ball. So he could be very well suited playing at left or right. Probably on the left, so he can tuck in. But it could be something. I don't see Dean Ebby sitting on the bench. I think he's been signed to put the ball in the back of the net. I think at the start of the season, we definitely see him starting. But yeah, it would be interesting to see as a three, maybe. I don't know. Look, it depended on the game, I suppose, the opposition that were playing at the time. But I think the beauty of this season is it opens it up to a lot of possibilities with formations because these are teams that haven't come to Oriel in years, unless we're playing an FA Cup game against these teams. So it's going to be a really open season. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as people are thinking. I don't think anybody's thinking that massively straightforward, but I'd like to see him absolutely play, just run at players, whether he gets that time playing as a central striker. I don't know. He wouldn't have probably the ilk of some of the players we've had in that role before. Obviously, we don't mention last season's strikers, but I think definitely on the left in particular is where we could see him play. But I mean, that if you look at the attackers there, like even young Malloy, I mean, if he gets in at all at first division level, we could be looking at a really good forward threatening at the top, and that's probably what we lacked last year. And I think Killer wanted to really get that right this year because we've got the players there in midfield that pass the ball. Hogan, Ward. I mean, Ward might play. No, you're not going to get 90 minutes every week, but we said it before when he was signed for the 15th time. His pass of the ball, his first touch of the ball is crazy. 15 times. So yeah, but I think the likes of Kenny, you could be right out on the left. I think he can play anywhere across the top, but it'd be interesting to see with Ebby in there as well. It'd be nice to see them just maybe as a 2 or 3, maybe going across with a Ruby maybe on the far side.
I think it's interesting because chat amongst fans and stuff like that is very much, might we see a very different setup? Obviously, from Killer's point of view, he's thinking game to game or whatever. But I strongly think there might be a big difference between Dundalk at home and Dundalk away. I think you might see kind of a more 2 up top sort of a situation in Oriel Park because we haven't been in the first division in quite some time, and everything that we've done since that time as well. The highs that we've got to for every club coming to Oriel Park, it's going to be a big thing to get that scalp, to take points off Dundalk. And I can see a lot of teams sitting in and looking to counter attack, and it's going to be up to us, and it's going to be, considering the way last year went in particular, we weren't looking to be expansive. We weren't looking to be, we were trying to contain, don't concede goal, don't give away anything silly. Towards, I can see it be more of, you got to be more open, more expressive as a team, and it's a little change of mentality in particular from last year, for us, and that's work that Killer and Ken are going to have to get back into, and maybe it's good having so many new recruits in that sense as well. But I think then going away, when you've got all the opposition fans and everything else, the onus is then not to be as expansive then. So I think we might see a more conservative lineup when we go away. Maybe that's when we're only playing one up top then at that stage, and we're probably flooding the middle of the park. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. It might not be. It might be something where I suppose Killer might have his settled 11 and everyone is kind of complementing that around it. But I think, although we're probably talking about, a first division standard or whatever as well, but you look at some of those players and you can definitely see a higher level in some of those as well. So I think at times we lamented sort of an impact we might have from the bench. I think when you look at the names that we have here currently in the squad list, it definitely seems a lot more healthier than last year. Maybe just because we know a bit more about most of them. I'm not too sure about.
There's just something about it. I when we put up the list earlier on, there's just something about it. I don't know if it's just because I don't want to say how far we fall. We're doing Premier Division, the First Division, but that kind of squad there for me, I can't wait to get going. Do you know? We've started probably the last maybe the last 2 seasons. We're kind of we're missing someone here. Maybe we need something, but I don't know because it's First Division. We've lowered expectations maybe, and it's a chance.
Well, I think after last year, Gally.
Of course, look, I don't think it will get any worse than us.
We were just happy for a win and for a goal.
But yeah, I just think there's just a buzz about this. I actually I'm probably more. I said on the night in the season review, I'm probably more looking forward to this season than I have been in probably 2 seasons at least 2 or 3. There's just something in the air. It's kind of back to, yes, it's First Division, but there seems to be a real appetite. That night in Oriel Park, where the two coaches were up, there seemed to be a buzz in the place. There seemed to be a real drive, a real kind of determination from everybody to back them. And the off the field things had gone before at the end of the season, and ownership and things like that. And I think people just want to get back to football, and I think the First Division is going to really, the best thing about the First Division for me is going to bring people up that might not have been, and maybe they want to get back to watching Oriel Park. They might not have been up before. They can't be accused of being on the bandwagon because we're in the First Division. So I'd expect a real kind of a roar of a season up in Oriel Park, and like you said, two up top at Oriel Park on a Friday night. I mean, if you can really get at teams, I'm not looking forward to the press record videos there. I'm not looking forward to go to Ballybuffet. It's like Stoke on a windy night. But I mean, again, that said, these teams we haven't played in so long. Mm-hmm. We're the team to beat, but to play these teams, and I think the First Division this year is going to be the squad around. You look at that loan, you look at Cove. I mean,
Cove is the big one, isn't it? From
absolutely.
Their takeover from American investors now, and for the likes of them to be able to push out the money, get Keane Coleman in or something like that, that would have been unheard of. That was captain of Cork last season, and they have bags full of First Division experience and guys now who knows what it takes to get promoted as well. That's anyone who thinks that this will be a stroll in the park this year of a rude awakening. I'm under no illusion how tough it's going to be this season, and like you said, you're looking at the lone squad opening day of the season as well. You mix in the little touch of it's Keller's old stomping ground and how many players we've taken from there, Enda Minogue and Dean Ebbe and stuff like that as well. You're thinking there's a lot in that mix, isn't there, for next Friday?
Yeah, and you probably couldn't have had, even if it was away from home, it still would have been. But the fact that it's at Oriel as well, you probably could have asked for a better fixture with the history. And Ken Kieran obviously there with Killer as well. You couldn't have asked for a better game, really. I mean, probably with the squads you've seen, Cove probably with the big game at the minute. But you don't want that first game of the season. You want to kind of sets your stall. We've obviously got tough games, Finn Harps, Kerry as well after that, but you couldn't pick them.
It's a double long journey straight after, isn't it?
The only thing, it's a bad. Look, that's the way the fixtures fall. You get it back later in the season, but I like I say, I actually can't wait for it to get going. I think it's going to be a massive season, and it's going to be like, I know obviously we can't compare it to last year, but I think it's going to be probably one of the most exciting seasons we've had for many a season. I mean, look, I know Steve O'Donnell, when he was in, we got second, but I just think the football on the pitch, where everybody's coming from the dourness of last year, the ending of the season, talk about going into business, all this kind of crack. I'd say fans, players, everybody just can't wait to get going.
When you look at pre-season, Gally, over, I know it's kind of hard to read a lot into it, and probably the new format of the Leinster Senior Cup and in the way it's grouped and stuff is kind of works out better for League of Ireland teams. We had a narrow defeat to Shells way back at the start of January, was it? Can't remember now. In the AUL. Obviously, we had the Malahide match then as well, a defeat to Usher Celtic, but then a victory in the Malone Cup against Drogheda last week. What did you take from that? What do you think Kieran and Ken will take from that then as well?
I think obviously the obvious one is you're playing like some Malahide and Usher Celtic, but Usher Celtic, that'll probably sting a little bit. But I mean, in the context of the season, look, them games are there. Like, especially in League of Ireland, you can't really take any games like a walk in the park. I know it's pre-season, it's the Leinster Senior Cup, but games like that, look, people will be, they'll be disappointed over, considering what Usher said. That's no disrespect. We've fallen from the Premier Division, but I think the draw of the match is probably the one. I mean, yes, you could look at the games, Shelbourne and things like that. Malahide are no slight, Leinster Senior League team, always been cracking, always a good managers, top coaches, but the draw, the one they would have been building for that draw again, they probably treated that like a league match. But that would have been the one, and like to get that over the line. But I think they're probably more looking on, like we just mentioned, where they played our strikers are going to play the 2, 1 in behind, giving minutes to certain players to get them kind of, because there's obviously going to be a few of the young fellas that will not start. They won't start games unless there's maybe an injury, touch wood. But let's get them some minutes on the pitch. I think probably they wouldn't read too much into the results, the exception of the Usher one, but definitely the draw of the game for me would have been, and especially at home at Oriel Park, I think it was 2,700 people, was it, at the game, from Malone Cup. And Malone Cups are normally popular anyway, but that's a real, considering there's the gap in the divisions. But to get that one get out of the way and win that one, I think that sets them up now for, obviously, tomorrow night as well, but for next week in particular. I think they'll be more kind of thinking tactics, because they seem to be really... Kieran seemed to come across as someone who's absolutely obsessed with tactics. Now, I know managers are, but he seems to be a coach that he oozes that kind of, he wants people in the right position, feet, foot position, shoulder position, everything. He wants everything kind of, he just seems to drive that into people, and he emphasized the youth of the squad as well. So I'd say he was probably more looking at getting minutes into the boys, getting settled on formations. And with the exception of the Usher game, they can't really be massive too disappointing. I mean, we made a couple of late signings as well, not as late as normal years, but we've also got the at the back end as well. Even, but really, look, we haven't mentioned McHale from Pats as well. So players like that, getting them in from loan, on loan from the other clubs that they weren't getting minutes at, looking at them. But the draw of the game, that'll set the stone, that'll set the stall out for the rest of the season now. That'll kind of kick them on now. Well, 24 hours before tomorrow's game, so I don't want to be saying too much. But it should give them a little bit of a lift. I mean, obviously, we started the season last year with Shamrock Rovers as well in the league, albeit. But I think I probably wasn't even match fitness. It was probably just getting lads out, seeing what they're like. There's one or two probably that you would expect to play over others. Obviously, your Sean Keogh, Mayoa, they're probably going to be starting. But then you've got Conor O'Keefe. Like players like that, getting minutes into them lads. But with the exception of the Usher game, I don't see why to be. I don't think we're much too disappointed. Pre-season, like you can't. Like we had a famous pre-season match against Bows 2 or 3 seasons ago. We all battered 3-0. I think we finished second in the league then. So you can't really read too much into it. But the draw of the game, the local derby, was probably the one. And I think once they got that in, that kind of relaxed and sets them up there for tomorrow night and the 14th, obviously next week as well.
The fact that we can pull over 2,000 people at a pre-season match that really says a lot though as well. Like you mentioned it earlier on about the hunger out there for the fans for a new season. I think that really kind of
100%.
epitomizes just that this is, people are chomping at the bit to get back to football here.
Yeah, and I think that's all. Like you're running the people, you get messages off people on podcast back. I think people retiring. The podcast was we're too good for the first division or something. But everybody's buzzing. Everybody. Yeah. I don't think anybody can wait. Look, Valentine's night. I know I remember when Ken Kieran said it that night at Oriel Park. Everybody was kind of like,
there was a couple of lads checking phones that night. Is he right?
But look, I don't think too many of the ladies or the men can begrudge going up to Oriel Park, go for the date. But it's. I think there's definitely a buzz about it, and I don't want to throw that around too early, but I think now that where we are, I think that's the biggest lever for this. Now that we're at the first division, we've kind of come through that doldrum of almost closing, and I think people, any sort of football, people just can't wait to go. I think even when we were talking about the squad earlier on, it's a cracking squad. I mean, it really is a really, really strong squad. Players that probably could have went somewhere else. You talk about Owen Kenny, definitely could have went. Like I'd say, if he had have wanted to go to another League of Ireland team, there definitely would have been suitors for him.
But you felt Milo was kind of something similar. You felt it was a list.
Him almost gone. He was the rumor was he was already gone, and to sign players like that, imagine having to go and replace that. Sean Keogh as well for me is massive. That's right, Paul. Yeah.
No relegation is
no chance. No less of football, right? But players like that, I think Steph mentioned Sean Keogh earlier last season. That's a massive player. I mean, you're probably looking at potentially a serious left back. Like really, probably play centre back as well, CDM, but somebody that you want to keep.
I think in the Drogheda match, was it at the end of last year? I think we might have even given man of the match.
Yeah.
In that one, he looked absolutely solid. So if you got,
he has that. He's almost like he's like a Sean Hoare. That's what he reminds you of. He's kind of stocky, but fast, but strong. Can play right across the back, probably. Centre midfield as well if you need it. Yeah, look at players like that. Once you're hanging on to them, there's a bit of biting that they want to hang on. They've obviously heard there's other players coming in. You don't want young players like that signing and having an awful season because it's almost a waste of their season. So they know what they're doing. They know why they want to play. And Killer's obviously selling it well. And yeah, it's just counting the days. It's a long time to count the days at the start of the season.
That's true. I suppose, Gally, it's not something we've needed to really look into too much. But when you look at it, and we're talking about how competitive this division could be this season, we're talking. We're talking there's serious investment, obviously, in Cove. Unknown identity, maybe somewhat with Athlone, and in the fact that they've changed their squad so much. Where you've also have Bray, who got all the way to a playoff final last year. Harps in there, you have a lot of good teams in there. Yeah. Only one is getting that automatic promotion spot. Then we're into that playoff situation. You don't want to be there, but you've no right either. To be saying that you're automatic promotion and stuff like that, although that will be the talk coming down, where with the history behind this club. But I think as fans we need to also understand that there is no right to be given anything down here. Your past titles mean nothing, and this is won and fought on the pitch this season. But you've got to be to stand a chance of getting back to the Premier Division, you got to be in that mix right from the start, and you really don't want to ever fall out of those playoff spots. And obviously, the closer to the top of the table we are, the better.
Yeah, like in a stark contrast from last year, you're keeping your head above the line of relegation. But we need to keep our head above the line of like 5th, 4th spot for pretty much 90% of the season. And you've even got Wexford there, Stephen Elliott's Wexford.
Yeah.
These teams are sick of being in first division football. That's why this league, I think it's going to be one of the best leagues for years. Now, obviously we're biased because the Dock are now in it. We probably weren't paying much attention to it the last couple of seasons. But, they are sick to death of being in that division. And like you say, it's one spot up and then the playoffs after that. But, yeah, they're tired of it. And, there's been decent investment. Something like Stephen Elliott coming in. You've got Lone, Cove, you've Harps. Obviously, Harps are always... Finn Harps are always a tough place to go. Bray, nobody even talk. You mentioned Bray. Nobody even thinks of Bray anymore because they just they ponder about in the back. You've Longford Town, who probably they probably don't have the players that they would have had on their dar a couple of years ago. But I mean, again, when you're down there that long and you're fighting to get out of it, and it's probably more on paper, it's probably more of an exciting league than the Premier Division, because only kind of, albeit last, it's only like 2 or 3 teams are going to win it, but it's open crack for everybody down here at the minute, because anybody thinks we're going to go down and have our way in it, like 100% we're the team to beat. We are the team to beat down here. There's no doubt about it. That's not being arrogant. That's just the way it is.
No.
But I mean, we're going to have it as tough as we've ever had it. It'll be as tough to get out of this division as it is to win a league title in the Premier League, because that the level we've come. But I like I say, I can't wait to get going. But there's teams there that it's almost like the Championship in England. You've got if anybody gets a run together, because you've got so many places up for a playoff spot as well. You've UCD as well. These UCD,
teams of course, yeah.
These teams have spent. Now, they've been in and out of the Premier League, but like teams like Finn Harps, Athlone, we haven't even played them apart from cup matches over the last couple of years. So these are going to be itching to get going. A new pitch on their schedule as well, and it's all new venues for us. It's great for fans as well. But I just think that we're 100% not going to get it our own way, and we shouldn't get it either. We'll be fighting. It'll probably go right down to the wire, but you got to be in the mix. Like you said, you have to be above that kind of 4th, 5th spot the whole season. Because if you drift off, you will be punished. You'll be punished more than probably. I mean, obviously you can't be relegated, but you can be cut drift very, very quick. You're probably talking double when you get into double figures of games. If you're not at it, you're going to be really off the pace set really early. But there's so many good teams down there, so many young players looking to fight because they're looking to get into the Premier Division, whether it's with the club they're currently at or get signed by somebody else. I just think it's going to be an exciting season, and it's going to be a tough old haul for the boys, but that's what you're in it for. I mean, that's the boys sold them this club, and that's what they've come in to do.
I think it's interesting though as well. You did mention like a couple of new venues and stuff like that, and there's lads planning trips down to Kerry and stuff like that. And it seems to be trains, planes, automobiles at the moment, getting lads down there. At the moment, I suppose that's part of the novelty. Like you say, we were close to not having a club to be planning these sort of trips. Now we'll gladly take that. I suppose we're going to miss one or two things. We're going to miss no Loud Derby, of course. Unless we pull them in the cup. So that's not a given 3 points for us anymore. So we'll miss that, but. There's still plenty of other rivalries, plenty of other battles down there, and I think it's going to be one of those eye openers. How much do you think it's come up? And I think both Ken and Kieran mentioned it in their pre-season chats as well. The Oriel Park crowd. Could that be a difference? That we're able to bring over 2,000 to a pre-season match. How important could that be? In order, you look at other grounds around. Not many would bring that sort of capacity.
Yeah, I think if you're like, and Oriel's tight as well. You know what I mean? I always talk about Drawdy and United's pitch being tight. Oriel's tight enough as well. Crowd wise, and and some of these teams won't be used to playing in front of that kind of. There's a couple of hundred things like that. UCD, obviously, look, the obvious one. There's not a lot of fans going to, but it could be worth an extra couple of points. You could be like, there's nothing like an Oriel Row when you're looking for goal. Unfortunately, we didn't get too many last year. And it took forever to get goals, or winning goals at least. But when you're looking for a goal, Oriel, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like that crowd. And it could be worth. They always say the goalkeepers are worth an extra couple of points a season. The crowd is going to be massive. And Chris, even we're talking about maybe 2,500 at the average match. I'd say the away games. I'd say there'll be a couple of hundred going to away matches as well. Because, like we say, planes, trains, automobiles. I think Danny Shields, I don't know if he's commented on yet. I seen it up on Twitter. Before Christmas, he was booking flights to Kerry. I
think John Curtis has it there as well.
It's probably just as quick. So, I think even the fans travelling, like I know myself, I haven't been to an away game in a long time, but I'll 100% be making a trip to away games this year because it's, like somebody said there, it's the scenic route, Frank. Yeah, the scenic route. Look, it's out for the day, and you're gone for the day. You probably make a weekend out of it, the Cove, to Kerry. Yeah, I think we're definitely probably going to have the biggest away traveling fans as well. So extra covers on both sets of the fence. So yeah, the fans are going to be massive. And we didn't get relegated last year because of the fans. The fans were great the whole season, but I think now you need them. You need that again and a little bit more to kind of lift these boys, because there is going to be times in Oriel Park, like you say, Chris, teams are just going to sit in and they're going to wait, and they're going to wait, and then it might come into the last couple of minutes. It could be 0-0 draw. We're looking for a goal, and that's where that Oriel row comes in. And yeah, the fans are going to be huge. Extra couple of points, and they won't have. I'm trying to think. Cove would normally have a decent fan base, but not massive on the road. But yeah, Finn Harps obviously as well. But there's going to be nothing like Dundalk supporters in the first division this year. Massive point, massive.
Yeah. Like that's. I think it just goes to prove. We probably started the show kind of talking about we have, we're just glad to have not only football coming this year, but we're glad still to have a club and everything like that. And as a result, I think that, like I say, good feeling will bounce into away grounds and everything. And hopefully we're seeing something we didn't see too much for ourselves in the Premier Division is that upward trajectory of attendances.
Yeah.
But hopefully, with ourselves down there and we tend to bring a good away. I remember in the midst of all the bad, news and everything else that was going around, but I don't know, was it Sligo away last year and we packed out the whole away end, when we had no right to, results were going bang against us for the whole thing. And yet we were still so loud and everything else that night. And I think that just shows how much support that we can get. We don't want to do like our usual show here and we're, 2 hours later, we're still going on this. We just said we would jump on because we didn't want, I suppose, the season to kick off and go in without doing the season preview for, hard to believe this is season 5, Gally, isn't it?
We've no right to be season 5. It's like ridiculous. Who's listening to us? And it's a Thursday as well. Thursday, we launched season 5 on a Thursday. Yeah, season 5, or what are we? 100 and I don't know. Why did we work it the other day?
180 odd or something.
181st podcast tonight. Yeah, look, no right whatsoever. Yeah, look, we thought we'd just do it for COVID. And people said you won't be able to do it when the games are on. When you're on at the matches, back at the matches. But look, we made it okay. No, we're normally late. We never come on on time. We tell people 10:15, 10:30. Could be 12. But at least we get there. But yeah, season 5, and it's we've come full circle. We've come kind of. We've unfortunately we haven't won a league since we started. So
we did win the President's Cup.
Have we won a trophy?
President's Cup that time, penalty shootout. You tipped us to win everything.
We peaked at the President's Cup, yeah. Look, we've come full circle. We're right there in the first division, but I mean, you wouldn't have it any other way. Look, I mean, these Friday nights, the fan, the comments coming in, I honestly think it's going to be a cracking season. I think there's just something in the air. Yeah, I think it's going to be a savage season, and the kits are savage as well. It's the first time. I ran into Nita Whelan in town one day, and the white kit was just launched, and it's the nicest kit I've seen since they've done the double stripe one, CX. In my opinion, the kits are cracking, and it's everything's kind of, unless there's anything we don't know about coming down the line. But look, we're flying. Really looking forward to it.
We do have a couple of things we've just announced. Obviously, for our 3rd or 4th year, no, I can't even remember. Or did we do this from season 1? I can't even remember. We are back on again with our Town Enders, our player sponsorship again. So we are back in Owen Kenny once again. Thanks so much to Owen and Nita, I suppose, for kind of sorting that out for us. So if everybody, if everyone could get involved with that, we're probably over halfway already. So there's not a whole lot of slots still available for that. So if people do want to get involved, it's €12 sent over. If you just check our socials, it goes to our Revolut account. And at the end of the season, all the names for everyone who contributed go on to Gally's Wheel of Names. And the lucky winner coming out of that gets Owen's jersey for the end of this season. And of course, on the programs and everything else with the player sponsorship with the club, it's mentioned under the Town End for that. Did mention, but I'll give him another plug again, just David Keenan's concert on the 23rd of February in the Spirit Store. Tickets are $22.50 plus booking fee on that. DJ Baz is back doing his fundraiser once again for Dundalk Football Club. That is next weekend, am I right? Yes, the Saturday after, yeah. Saturday, the 15th of February. Tickets are a tenner for that. So that's a fundraiser for Dundalk Football Club as well. So don't forget to get involved in that. I think we're nearly there on everything else. There's so many people say, "Will you mention something as we go as well?" So no doubt, of course. If we didn't mention this one, Dean will absolutely kill us. But do keep an eye out. So Dino Pingu from the pod here is organising his charity event, the third annual one for Charlie May Shield. So it'll be a Dundalk Legends. He is drip feeding out all the legends who will be part of that. No doubt, Gally will get a spot at some stage.
Not even asked. Tell them, Chris. Tell them what we were asked to do, Chris. Yeah. Steph got asked to play, and we got asked to do the captain. We got the captain, and we got asked to do the commentary. So that I do that commentary, and we're going to kill it. We are going to kill
it. But so if people would be able to attend that or to contribute.
World Cup winners medal they have, not a winners medal. World Cup medal they have. None between.
World Cup winner. Your international career is getting better and better as these seasons go on. It may be a new season, but all the same glitches and everything else are seen to be still there for us at least. So look, as I said, we just wanted to jump on. Just important to mention those things: dates for gigs and everything else, our player sponsorship and Dino's charity match then as well. We will be back as per usual this season for all our post-match chat. I think I'm getting thrown a fair few drugs games, lads, so you'll be able to tell me what's happened at those games as we go. Once again, thanks to David Keenan and Mark Harlan for our new intro song as well. Much appreciated to that. Gally, anything else?
I think that's it, Chris. Just come on to town, I suppose.
Come on to town.